ceremonies are put on entirely by your class of this year. And I'd like to call up the commander of tonight's detail, Mr. Luke Nolinger.
Hoo-yah! Attention to orders. We are gathered here for an important patriotic and solemn purpose. Here to witness the presentation of the flag of our country, Old Glory, the Stars and Stripes, our flag, to West Virginia University by American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, class of 2016. Sergeant at Arms, post the flag to be presented in front of this gathering. Let us stand for the invocation. Chaplain.
Let us pray. Most gracious Father of us all, from whom comes all help and blessings, look upon us gathered here, and with thy favor direct us in all our action. Grant to us vigilant hearts, give us minds to know thee. We ask that you place your hand on all here and across our nation, and let this flag fly free in your name. Amen.
You may be seated. We will now have a reading of Your Flag and My Flag by Wilbur D. Nesbitt. The reading will be by Hayden Miller.
Your flag and my flag, and how it flies today. In your land and my land, and half a world away. Rose red and blood red, the stripes forever gleam. Snow white and soul white, the good father's dream. Sky blue and true blue, with stars to gleam aright. The gloried guidon of the day, the shelter through the night.
Thank you. We are here to present a flag to West Virginia University. This university shows true Americanism and is a great supporter of American Legion Mountaineer Boys State. They are always ready to help and work with our program. The American Legion Mountaineer Boys State class of 2016 will present the new flag. The flag will be presented by Governor Perry. Sergeant at Arms, retrieve the flag. It is a great honor and privilege to have the honor of presenting this beautiful symbol of our country, the flag of the United States of America, the Stars and Stripes, to West Virginia University on behalf of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, class of 2016. May it always fly over our land, representing a government instituted by our founding fathers that will always champion freedom and justice. It is with honor and pride that this beautiful flag of the great state of West Virginia is also presented to West Virginia University on behalf of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, class of 2016. May it ever remind you of her rolling hill, flowing rivers, majestic mountains, and that Mountaineers are always free. In honor of what we have witnessed here today, we will now honor America by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Afterwards, please remain standing for the playing and singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. That concludes our flag presentation ceremony. We all know that there will be a fresh, bright, brand new flag of our nation flying tomorrow, and long may it wave. We will now have our benediction. Chaplain.
All rise. Let us pray. Almighty God, leader over all, bless and consecrate this gathering. We thank you for our country, its flag, and the liberty for which it stands, one nation under you. May you grant us peace and freedom as we live, for God and country. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. You may be seated.
Pretty good job by your class, huh? Well, I said we had a distinguished guest here. Well, we have several. And I'm going to call a gentleman up here in a minute that you all know. You've all seen him running around the campus here this couple days we've been here. So for the purpose of introduction, I'd like to call Mr. Blake Humphreys to the stage, please. You got it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. When I was told I had the pleasure of introducing President Gee, I didn't know really where to begin. There's so much to say, but I'll start with a few words. When I first met Dr. Gee back in the fall of 2014, the one thing that struck me immensely was his electric personality, amongst many other things. But I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of background about President Gee and some personal stories. But Dr. Gordon Gee is one of America's most prominent higher education leaders, having helmed universities for more than 3 decades. In 2014, Dr. Gee returned to West Virginia University, where his career as a university president began. I can say that as a student at WVU and a student leader at WVU, we're so glad to have him back, not only because he's a great president, but he also brought the bow tie back, and he made taking selfies cool again in Morgantown. So we appreciate him for that. His leadership goals at WVU include putting students first, advancing the university's research agenda, partnering with West Virginia communities, and making sure that the 1.8 million West Virginians know in their hearts and minds that West Virginia University is their university. And I can attest to this, that he is truly the student's university president, as I wrote in the State Journal last week. Born in Vernal, Utah, Gee graduated from the University of Utah with an honors degree in history and earned his Juris Doctorate and PhD in education degrees from Columbia University. He clerked under Chief Justice David T. Lewis of the U.S. 10th Circuit Court of Appeals before being named a judicial fellow and staff assistant to U.S. Supreme Court. In his role, he worked for the Chief Justice of the Court, Warren Berger, on administrative and legal problems of the court and the federal judiciary. President Gee returned to Utah as an associate professor and associate dean in the J. Reuben Clark Law School at Brigham Young University and was granted full professorship in 1978. 1 year later, he became the dean of the West Virginia University College of Law, and in 1981, he was named university president for his first term, and he served in that role until 1985. He went on to lead the University of Colorado, Brown University, Vanderbilt, and did a couple of terms at Ohio State. He has conferred more degrees in the United States than any other university president. So this man not only had his signature on my mom's degree back in the 1980s, but he'll have it on mine, God willing, here in the next year. Active in a number of national professional and service organizations during his tenures, Dr. Gee has served on the boards for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Limited Brands, and the National 4-H Council. Dr. Gee has received a number of honorary degrees, awards, fellowships, and recognitions. He's the co-author of 11 books, including Law, Policy, and Higher Education, published in 2012, and he's written numerous papers and articles. Besides all of that, which is really neat stuff, he's also probably one of the funniest people I know. And I'm sure tonight you'll get a couple of laughs and some signature staple E. Gordon Gee jokes. His daughter Rebecca is the Secretary of Louisiana's Department of Health and Hospitals and an assistant professor of public health and medicine at Louisiana State University. And when I was pulling his bio online, I found it was kind of remiss that his 2 beautiful twin granddaughters were not mentioned in his bio, and we hear him talk about them all the time. More than anything, as a student leader, and Trevor Keese, who's here, and Doug Ernst, all the folks in SGA at WVU and students at WVU, we really feel a deep sense of connection and friendship and mentorship when talking with President Gee. He brings so much to our campus, our culture, and our climate, and we are so grateful to have him in Morgantown. And as I look out on the future and the rising senior class of high school students across the state of West Virginia, I'd say that if you come to Morgantown, you're going to, for 5 more years, pending Hep C approval, we're going to have one of the best university presidents in the country. So please join me in giving a warm Boys Day welcome to WVU President E. Gordon Gee.
One of my favorite things is to come to Boys State. You know what I thought I'd do because of the fact that some of my student leaders are here. I thought I'd read you. You know, I get all these emails all the time. Can you imagine emails from 33,000 students and 20,000 faculty and staff? You're always constantly getting something. But this is my favorite one. I'm sorry I can hardly read it. I'm so daggone funny. But anyway, so you know, we go on spring break at a university. And students will generally go and do wonderful things, Habitat for Humanity, and a variety of other things. But I got this email this spring. It says, "Dear President Gee, I'm planning a spring break trip with my best friend from the University of Cincinnati, and we have enlisted 6 female cheerleaders to join us for the whole week in sunny Miami. But when we went to book flights, you can imagine my disappointment to find out that our colleges have conflicting spring break schedules. I'm writing to ask if you could push West Virginia University spring break back a week. You're the only one with the power to help make a 19-year-old man's dream come true." A 19-year-old man's dream come true of a half dozen girls in a remote beach house 1,200 miles away. Well, I thought about that, and but the next line was the one I really loved. Of course, if you help out, you're more than welcome to join us. So I had a hell of a good time in Miami. It was great. And then this one I thought was really funny. So we get notes from parents all the time, so I thought I'd read this one to you. "Dear President Gee, you delighted my son on move-in day by stopping by his room to welcome him." By the way, these are all true. I couldn't make these up. "To welcome him personally to West Virginia University and to give him a cookie. After seeing him during Christmas, I just had to write to let you know how well he is integrating into West Virginia University life. He met a girl, made the dean's list, is writing for the student newspaper, joined the debate club, became a research assistant, took up polo, and is editor-in-chief of the new undergraduate research journal. Wow. We cannot believe this is the same kid who refused to go to band camp in the 7th grade. So good job." Well, I thought about that for a bit, and so I sent back his mother's name is Michelle, and I sent back a note and I said, "Dear Michelle, what a thrill that your son is making the most of his opportunities here. I'm also fairly certain that no one student could be that involved. And come to think of it, we do not even have a polo team at West Virginia University. You aren't making your tuition checks out to cash, are you? So anyway, so it's great to be with all of you. So let me just talk about two things. My cat. Stop laughing over there. Okay, well, I'm trying to be serious. But anyway, Blake told the story. So this is my second time in West Virginia. Wonderful state, beautiful place. I tell the story about the fact that when I came back 2 years ago, I determined I said, well, I'm going to visit every county in the state. And I was thinking about the fact that when I moved from here, I moved to Colorado. Colorado has 21 counties, and because I was president of a university that had 4 campuses, I would go to 19 other counties just by traveling to them, and then the other two counties I'd visit in a cameo way. And so I thought, okay, so I'm going to tell everyone I'm going to visit every county. Then I turned to someone and I said, how many counties are there? And when they said 55, I nearly had a heart attack. So it's a beautiful state, wonderful place. Steve, the dean and director of our extension service has just been traveling with us, but it's been a journey for me. 5 years as president of this university, then 5 years as president of the University of Colorado, then 7 years I was the president of Ohio State, and then 3 years Brown, and then 7 years Vanderbilt, and then 7 years Ohio State, and then I retired. I literally retired. I moved to Boston. I was teaching at Harvard University, and they called up and asked me if I wouldn't help them find a president. I said, well, sure, I can do that. And they called back and they said, well, why don't you come and run it? And I said, well, I'm between semesters teaching, so I can come. And so I signed up for 2 months, and that was 2 years ago. I'm kind of like a bad dream. I never have left. But the reason I tell you that story is the fact that I think that sometimes you don't realize the wonders of this place. I don't think we value how much this is a very special spot on earth. It certainly is very special to me. Beautiful, but warm and gracious people who really do understand and value what it's like to be citizens of a community, citizens of a state, citizens of a nation. People who really do understand the the value of hard work and the fact that we have enormous economic challenges means that we're all going to have to work together. So I just think it's so important for you to understand that right now, that what you're doing here for Boise State is very important. Now, one of the things that I want to do at the university is I want to build a fence around West Virginia. And keep all of now, we have Donald Trump built it. I didn't say that. And keep all of our talent here because one of the ways we're going to become a great state and continue to be a great state is if all of you stay here with us. If you flee and go to other places, we can't let that happen. So we have exported coal, we've exported oil, we've exported gas, and we've exported talent. And I don't want that to take place. So we're going to work very hard to keep all of you here. And just as an advertisement, we want to have you come and be part of our university. I tell everyone that West Virginia University is the Goldilocks institution. You know, it's just the right size. So 33,000 students, 30,000 people in the town, wonderful, safe community, beautiful part of the world. When I was the president of Ohio State, which is the largest university in the country, 65,000 students, 50,000 faculty staff, I felt like I was the mayor of a big city, and I just never could get my arms around it. And then I moved to Brown, which is the smallest of the Ivy League institutions, and it was only had 7,000 students. I felt like an antelope in a telephone booth. It was just really small. And so kids would come to me all the time and they say, gee, I've decided I want to become an architect. And I say, well, too bad you're here. You're stuck. You can't change your mind. So I think it's important as you think about college life for you to think about going to a place that is big enough to allow you to change your mind and small enough to make certain you're able to do that. So that's the reason I think about our university as being the Goldilocks institution. So when I thought that enough of the advertising, did I get them all now? But anyway, what I thought I'd do is just talk about a couple of things that are fun to me. What you're all about is leadership here, right? Yes, sir. That's what it's all about. Okay, come on. Are you all about leadership? Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you. Wow. First time anyone said yes, sir, to me in unison. I cherish that moment. So anyway, so what I thought I'd do is I'd tell you just a couple of things that I think are important. All that I've learned about running universities, all I've learned about everything, is I haven't learned them from my successes, of which I've had a few, but I've learned from my mistakes, of which I've had many. And I think that one of the things I always encourage everyone to think about is celebrate your successes, and then, but then take full advantage of thinking about your mistakes. Why'd you do it? What can you do better? How do you make that happen in terms of doing things better? So I just thought I'd tell you a couple of mistakes I made. The first one is the fact that I became a university president. No, and I say that sort of tongue in cheek, but because I've been blessed to have a wonderful life. You can imagine very few people have had the opportunity that I've had, and I cherish that. But I was only 36. I didn't even know how to spell university, let alone be a university president. And so so when I became president of the institution at West Virginia, I just was not doing very well, and I was having a miserable time, and the student newspaper was saying that I ought to resign. I mean, it was all sorts of stuff. It was a very rough time because I just didn't know what I was doing. And then these two old guys came in. I thought they were old. They were probably 40. But anyway, they came in and they sat down with me. One was the dean of the libraries, and the other was the chair of the Department of English. You can imagine what they looked like. And so they said to me, hey, listen, you're not doing very well. I said, well, you're not telling me anything I don't know. And I said, fine. They said, well, you don't look or act or talk like a university president. You know, you wear Argyle socks, you wear blue blazers, you wear khakis, you wear bow ties, you go out late at night to all the student parties. They said, you don't act like a university president. And all of a sudden I thought about that. I said, no, the only university president I knew was my president when I was an undergraduate, and he was a tall, distinguished, gravelly voice-looking guy. And I thought, well, yeah, that's what I need to do is I need to start looking and acting the role. And so I decided I would start wearing long ties, and that I would start wearing three-piece suits and try to be a little bit more dignified. And what happened was the fact that not only was I still failing, but then I was miserable. And so I just woke up one day and I said, I'm just going to go back and do what I was doing. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail on my own terms. And so I put back on my bow ties and my Argyle socks and everything. And so here it is, 36 years later. And I'm still university president, and those guys are dead. you should be. You know, every one of us have great talents. Every one of us have great deficits. And each one of us are very unique. We're unique in character. We have God-given abilities and things that we just shouldn't be doing, and things that we're not very good at. And the point is in today's world, and I say this particularly with the world you're in, with social media, with Twitter, with Instagram, with all of the other kinds of things going on, people want to define you the way they want you to be, rather than the way you are. And so the first mistake you'll ever make is to be like other people want you to be. Be who you are, and you're going to be successful. The second mistake is, from my point of view, is what you need to do is you need to take your work seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. You ever thought about that? You know, your work is important. What you're doing is very important. But how many of you see people as they move up in terms of opportunities or in terms of offices they're holding, all of a sudden they become sort of really dense and really just full of it, right? You know what I mean? They just kind of become full of it. And you think, gosh, this is my friend, and now he's the president of the student body, and he acts like he's king of the hill, or like she's king of the hill. So that is wrong. What you got to learn is that humility is an important ingredient of any kind of success. And so if you're more successful, the more humble you should be, and the more you should be like yourself. And so take your work seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. The third thing, and I think the most important ingredient for success in my view, are three things. One, you need to have a very thick skin. You need to have a good sense of humor, and you need to have nerves like sewer pipes. Thick skin. Let me tell you something. In today's world, you're going to be criticized. 36 years ago, when the first time I got criticized by the student newspaper, I went home and went to bed. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not terribly healthy. I mean, it was just awful. No one had ever said anything bad about me. Then all of a sudden, all these people were saying, now I take great pleasure out of it. It's sort of like being a pinata. You know, it's just kind of fun. And the point is this: is the fact that the more you lead, the more you're going to be criticized. And by the way, they're not criticizing you. They're not criticizing you as a person. They're not criticizing you as a person. They're criticizing the fact that you lead. And you know what happens is the fact that the more you know, and the more you lead, the more other people are going to be after you, because either they want your job or they want to be able to complain about it. And this is the thing you have to remember: no one knows more about making a decision than you do, because you have all the facts and they don't. It's very easy to criticize when you don't have to make the decision. It's very easy to criticize when you don't have all of the responsibility to make it. And so, therefore, it's very important to have a very thick skin. The second thing is you have to have a good sense of humor. If you can't laugh at yourself, get the hell out of the business, okay? And you just have to learn to have a good sense of humor. You know, I learned that early on. Sometimes my sense of humor, my friend, has gotten me in trouble. But anyway, I've escaped. So I'm president of the University of Colorado, and Colorado was ranked number 2 in the country. They were playing Nebraska, that was ranked number 1. And so I'm speaking to a group of alumni, 400 of them, in Colorado Springs, and I didn't realize the press was there, and so I got up and said, we're looking forward to this football game. We're going to have a great football game. And by the way, I discovered what the N on the Nebraska helmet stands for, which is knowledge. And oh, come on, get with it. That's funny. And just because they're football players, and their football players aren't really dumb, just because they have printed on their helmet this end up and on their shoes toes first, I thought it was really funny. Well, anyway, unfortunately, it was published in the local newspaper. Then it was published in the Lincoln, Nebraska Star-Times. And I discovered 2 things about Nebraskans. One is they love their football team, and 2, they have no sense of humor. It was awful. I barely survived that one. And then, but you got to learn to have a sense of humor. Learn to laugh at yourself. Learn to enjoy yourself. Learn to take yourself not so seriously, as I said before. The final thing is when you think about nerves like sewer pipes. So when I was president of Ohio State the second time, they were digging up all of the infrastructure around my office, and they had these big sewer pipes, which had been in there for 100 years, but they were perfectly good, but they were just not big enough anymore. And so I always walked by every day, and I thought that's sort of the nature of leadership to me, because you just have to once you make a decision, you have to kind of live with it. so one of my favorite stories about that is, so I'm the brand new president of the University of Colorado. I'm 40 years of age. And we're announcing my appointment. And I turned to the chairman of the board of trustees, and here's all this press out here. And I said, well, what do you want me to say? And I thought he was going to say, we're going to win a Nobel Prize and we're going to do a variety of other things. And he said, tell him you're going to fire the damn football coach. And I wasn't going to do that. Colorado had a football coach by the name of Bill McCarthy. Statistically, the worst football coach in America. He'd done 1 and 10 2 years in a row. And I mean, he was awful. But you know, look at me. Do I know a thing about football? I mean, I know this when our team goes in the end zone and everyone yells, "That's good." So anyway, so 6 weeks later, I call in McCartney to fire him because that's what I was told to do. And two things about Bill McCartney. One is the fact that he's still a good friend of mine. He's a charismatic man, just had great charisma. And secondly of all, he's a very religious man. And so he comes in, sits down, he says, first thing he pounds the table and says, Mr. President, I know you're going to fire me, but before you do, I'm going to tell you about our football team. So he proceeds to mesmerize me. You know, we're going to run revere offense, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I mean, of course I didn't know anything about this, but it sounded really good. And so, and this is young and inexperienced, so I get out there in front of these 100 people. This was just when ESPN was starting, so they had their cameras there. And so I got out and said, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce I've just extended Coach McCarthy's contract for 5 years. I mean, it was chaos. The board of governors at the university met the next day to try to fire me, but I'd only been there 6 weeks. So they couldn't quite figure out how to fire me. I got over 8,000 letters about my decision. 2 in favor. One was from his wife and the other was from his daughter. But anyway. This is a chaotic time, and so I knew that my job was on the line. You know, every once in a while you have to depend on other people. So my job was on the line because if he didn't win, I was toast. I never wanted to count on the vicissitudes of an 18-year-old running a football, but that was it. And so for the first time, and the last time in my life, I went to every home game and every away game, and I was on the field and carried his headset. I mean, I was concerned about it. And here we are, and I'm just watching all this go by. To show you how religious he was, though, this is very funny. These kids would come out and say, Coach, I brought my arm, and put his hand on their head and say, you're healed, and send them back. But anyway, so anyway, we went 7-4. The greatest turnaround in college football in many, many years. And so, of course, he saved his job and mine. But the thing that was very interesting is the fact that 5 years later, in the Orange Bowl, we played Notre Dame for the national championship, and we won. Nerves like syrup pipes. Nerves like syrup pipes. Nerves like syrup pipes. Stick with your decision. Think about it, and then if you make a decision, then stick with it. And so all of a sudden, one of the greatest events in my life, I tell you something, revenge is good. Let me just say this. Revenge is good because I wrote a personal note to all 8,000 of those people with a letter attached. Revenge is good, you know. Anyway, that was a great lesson for me. I just intuitively knew that it was the right thing to do, so I did. I'll just say a couple of other things, and I really do need to let you guys go. And one is the fact that you always need to drive yourself toward quality. Never take mediocrity, you know, and never tolerate mediocrity, because mediocre people make other people mediocre, and they make the whole system mediocre. You've got to make certain you constantly keep yourself and everyone around you to a very high standard. And then don't let tradition and history overpower you. You know, I believe the most important tradition of any institution is the tradition of change. Indeed, I always joke about the fact that sacred cows make the best hamburgers. You constantly have to think about how you can renew at the same time giving great reverence. You know, we're not going to stop saying go Mountaineers, and we're not going to stop having one of the greatest marching bands in the country and variety of other things. We think that that's very important, but we also can't be biggest mistake that I made and the biggest lesson I learned really was driven home to me by a friend a couple years ago. He sent me a picture of me, and below it was the definition of a workaholic. I am a workaholic. I'll just say that to you, and I'm not proud of it. And by that I mean, you know, everything revolved around, and in many ways still does revolve around my work. You know, I mean, if there's a workaholic anonymous, I'd be right in the front line. I say, Lord, and I'm here to confess. But anyway, you've got to learn to have balance in your life. There's no substitute for good homes and good families and good communities and having a life that has balance in it. In my instance, I have one daughter, Rebecca, who is now 40, and her mother died at the age of when she was 15, so I became mother and father. But when her mother was ill, her mother died of cancer. When her mother was ill, the night before she died, I gave a speech to a group of alumni in Dayton, Ohio. Now, I have never forgiven myself for that because I should have been with her instead of out doing my work. And so I want you to all remember that the most important thing in your life is to find joy in your friends, in your family, in your churches, in your communities, and in enjoying yourself. So saying all of that, what kinds of questions can I answer from you? I'll take a couple of questions and we'll let. Okay, who's got a question? Come on. Okay, here we go. Tell me your name, where are you from? Oh, I always in the backup, given my problem. Oh, no, I've never considered a stand-up comedy. Just being fun, just being, you know, I think this is the truth, man. I think most people think of university presidency as really dull people. And the fact that I actually can crack the joke probably been a great benefit to you. Yes, sir.
I'm Kate from Randolph. What's your favorite thing to do at Morgantown?
Oh, I tell you what I love to do. Right, and I do it all the time. You know, one of my favorite things is I love to go out in the evening with students. And you know, student life starts at 11 o'clock at night, right? I mean, students are nocturnal animals. You know, you're not normal human beings, you know? And so one of the things that I do is either every Friday night or every Saturday night, okay, every Friday night or every Saturday night, what I do is I've got someone in my office, and they'll make a list of all the things that are going on. And I'll grab a couple of freshmen or a couple of seniors or a couple of juniors, and I'll say, let's go out to dinner, and then we'll go out and have fun. And what I love to do is, I never let anyone know, I like to go to 21st birthday parties. She screamed and I screamed. It was a toga party. Oh my heck! And so it was the scantiest toga I've ever seen in my life. And so she slammed the door and oh my hell, it's the university president. She was running out the back of the door, throwing stuff out the windows, every other kind of thing. I'm just here to have a good time. So anyway, I went to college at the University of Utah as an undergraduate, and then I went to Columbia University in New York City for both my law degree and my doctorate. Yes, sir. Skyler and I met in the bathroom. There we are. Oh, Skyler's question was, what's my favorite university I worked at? Skyler, that's the dumbest place I've ever worked at. Who in hell says pay me right now? How many bow ties do I have? I have over 1,000. By the way, I have another 1,000 in retirement. So I make them. I have 3.5-year-old twin, identical twin granddaughters, and I make Which one do I enjoy the most? Well, I tell you what's the most beautiful sport, and that's women's volleyball.
I just wanted to know what your music program was like. Do you offer audio engineering?
Oh, absolutely. And we have a fabulous music program, one of the really great music programs in the country. So come. Hey, guys, let me tell you something. You are privileged people. Think about that. You're privileged people. You have the privilege of living in a great country at a great time. We have a lot of problems. You know what happened over the weekend. But guess what? We can't let a few people who have only hate in their hearts define who we are. And so what I want to tell you is the fact that we're blessed people. So thanks for letting me be here. Everyone have a great evening.
All right, gentlemen. Okay. You talk about a hard act to follow. So I'm not even going to try it. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take about 5 minutes, all right, get some water, stretch, bathroom if need be, okay, and then when everybody needs to come back in, at that point we're going to have Mr. Art Zockler come up, and he is going to give the lowdown on Attorney General and Supreme Court and all that, so we all know what's going on that end, okay? It is 20 till. Let's take until quarter till. Please use the side doors. Do not come through the center because of the equipment back here. Back in 5, gentlemen.
Okay, may I have your attention, please? Thank you. We're going to have the evening broadcast, nightly news.
I'd say that there's significant opportunity in West Virginia. West Virginia is a state that consumes peanuts, $7,300,000,000 worth of food. Yet we grow less than one. And as we see the movement that has been out there for a few years now, it's really gathering farm to table. We see that the desire for fresh quality products is becoming more and more apparent, and it's challenging to say the least. However, it's also going to be very rewarding. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. This has been Emerson Brown and Dylan Brock with Mountaineer. Signing off.
Okay. At this time, we're going to have the Supreme Court justices speak one at a time. They'll all be given 45 seconds to explain to you why they want to be your Supreme Court justice. This evening, we're going to have the primary election. You're going to vote for the state offices under the dining hall in your city and county in your cabin. After they speak, we'll release the election workers to vote first in the state, and then you'll all be released to go vote. Now, I'm going to bring the Supreme Court justices up here in order of the ballot, one at a time. You all will have 45 seconds to speak. Raina, thank you. Raina will be flashing a sign up for how much time you have left. What are you going to do? 10, 20, 10 and then 0. When you finish, then just come off the stage and I'll introduce the next gentleman. Any questions? Okay.
I have one comment.
Yes.
When you see the 0, you must stop right then. No more work.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen.
Okay. Let's begin with Lucas Tanner.
I want to thank you all for letting me do this, and I'm just going to start out with, We are the Boys Nation citizens. We are the people of this place. And we need leaders, we need state representatives that will follow the law to the best standards that they know how. I believe that I stand above the other candidates because I will give 100% in every single time I do something for the Supreme Court. I come from a small town, and I stand here not only for myself, but for others who believe they can't make a difference. The silent majority, the spoken majority, everyone. I will represent you by presenting the law and upholding it to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sean Five Guys Dole.
Hey everyone, I'm Sean, I'm from Grafton, and I just want to thank you all real quick, and everyone, can you do me a favor and look down at your chest? Look at your name tag, and you'll see that we're all wearing yellow. We all have a name tag, and the only thing that's different from you and me is that one of us is a nationalist and some of us are federalists, but we are all equal. And I believe that as a Supreme Court judge, it is my job to make sure that everyone, under the laws that was granted to us by this state, and by our country, that we should obey and we should be granted that all men are created equal. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Thomas Huart.
Hi, my name is Thomas Hugert, and everybody knows, like, you have to do things that are right, but I guess it just comes down to who worked the hardest, but hopefully you guys will vote for me. Thank you.
I'd like to have Jonathan Petty next.
Good evening, Boys State. My name is Jonathan Petty, and I'm a member of Harrison Cabin. I'm no stranger to student politics. I've been a member of the student council at my school every year of my high school career. This past year, I was student body vice president, and I've been elected as student body president for next year. The bottom line is, I ran for this, and I want your vote for this because I believe this is the position where I can be most helpful. I believe this position caters to my strengths, and I can be most helpful to you, the citizens, in this position. Your vote would be appreciated. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Stephen Martin.
All right, first off, I'd like to thank Judge Judy for almost everything I know about law. No, I'm just kidding. I actually went to a law summer camp a few times in Seattle and had it lectured to me by my aunt and uncle. But what I would like to say today is that I would like to be your representative as a judge. And what I really want more than anything else is for you guys to like me, even if that means that I'm not a judge. I'm not going to stand up here and say that I'm the best or will be the best, but I want to say that I will represent you in law and that I'm hopefully, and that I think of myself as one of the 5 best people to represent you. Thank you.
Next candidate, Jonathan Lipovich.
First off, I would like to thank everybody for letting me have this opportunity. I believe I'd be a great Supreme Court justice because I want to make everybody feel equal and represent the laws. That's why I think I'd be the best for the Supreme Court. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Ryan Young.
Okay, my name's Ryan Young. I'm from the Gilmer Cottage. A little bit about myself. I have a lot of passions, and government is definitely one of them. That's outside of Boise State as well. I also really like to have a good time, and I hope that being part of this position, we can do something memorable, and make sure that the 79th class of Boise State has something cool go down in the Supreme Court, something that we can brag about to next year. I have a lot of experience with the United States Constitution. I've won a lot of constitutional debates, and a lot of those have to do with West Virginia as well. And I think we can do a good job with this one, and we can uphold the law to the best of its ability. So, vote for Young.
Next candidate, Austin Wilson.
Hello, as he just mentioned, my name is Austin Wilson, and I'm from Harrison Cottage. I believe I would be a good Supreme Court justice because I would uphold the laws that are given to us in the U.S. Constitution and help uphold those laws and make those, because we know those are our laws and we have those set, and we're a great country. We don't need to change those at all. We need to hold those down. And I will work for justice. I will work with integrity, and I will work for you, Wilson, for Supreme Court.
Next candidate, Noah Chitster? Chinister.
Hi, I'm Noah Chittister from Panhandle. Thank you. And I am a dedicated American. Yes. The law is in place for a reason. Everybody needs to, they don't always, but they need to abide by this law. When they don't, it's the Supreme Court's job to hold it in place. I believe I could do a supreme job of doing that. So, vote for me. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Jonathan Weimer.
All right, for those who don't know me, hi, I'm Jonathan Weimer from Panhandle County. Now, as you're sitting there listening to all these speeches, you're probably thinking, what makes this guy qualify for running for Supreme Court judge? Well, I'll lay it out for you. If appointed, I promise to fulfill my duties as a Supreme Court justice to the very best of my ability. I'll promote and adhere to the rules of the West Virginia Constitution and protect the right of each and every citizen here at Boise State. For example, if the bank tries to embezzle thousands of dollars to buy go-karts or something and run you guys over, rest assured that I'm going to be here to, as a respectable and capable judge in court. We citizens vote immediately after this assembly. You need to be ready to pick out the best candidates. So prepare yourself, set your timer, vote for Weimer.
Our next candidate, Nate Taylor.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Taylor. I'm from Marion Cottage, and I think I'm your Supreme Court Justice just for the reason that I feel everyone should be equal. If I would be your Supreme Court Justice, I would hear both sides of the stories, just so I can get a feel. I'm not an opinionated person. I'd like to know what you'd like to say. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Greg Guy Kinnear.
All right, I'd first like to start to address, my name is actually Greg Career. All right, pronounced like the job because I'm the guy for the job. All right, so I just want everybody to know that I think I'm qualified for this because for the past 3 years I've been a part of my school's debate club. The past 2 years I was actually the president. And also, if anybody attended the law lecture last night, they said the ump is kind of supposed to be like the referee of the court. And for the past 4.5 years, I've been umpire of Little League Baseball. And if any of you have ever been to a Little League Baseball game, you know how those parents are. So I'd just like to say, remember that I'm the guy for the job. That's why I put the guy on my name. Just remember me when you're voting. Thank you very much, and I'd like to uphold you fairly.
Okay, our next candidate, Lincoln Honest Abe, the Five Guys, Opio.
Alright, I'm Honest Abe, and I would like to represent the 2016 Boys State as a Supreme Justice. Ever since I went to a youth leadership event in Charleston where we met senators and Supreme Justices, I've always had an interest in the political and law career. So I also got one of the highest scores on the bar test according to the counselors. So I have the knowledge of government and law. I also want to thank anyone who is going to vote for me because without your votes, I wouldn't be anything. And once again, that is Honest Abe. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Joshua, the Five Guys, Yankovic. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm Josh Yankovic from Calhoun. Yeah, so I'm running for Supreme Court Justice, only because I don't want to end up on the unemployment list. That would suck. But that's not the real reason. I'm running because I think we all have the potential. I mean, we all made it here, but I know I'll work for it. I'll do my best. I always put everything I have to it. I know that I will judge fairly, and I will do everything I can to give you what you want. Of course, I mean, I think I'm going to do well. Of course, who am I to judge?
Our next candidate, Nicholas, the Five Guys, Miller.
Okay, hello, my name is Nicholas Miller, and I'm from the Marion Cottage. So, when I first received the citizenship packet in the mail for ALMBS, I was looking through the careers, and I realized that Supreme Court Justice is the one that sparked my interest the most. So I decided I was going to study for the bar exam and try to pass it so I could get that job. So when I got here and I realized that I did pass the bar exam, I decided that I was going to try to establish justice for all of Boys State. Furthermore, I attended a law lecture last night in the WVU building, and they said that the justice position is titled as the person who does the right thing morally, ethically, and legally, and that's what I'm going to do in that position. I appreciate any votes.
Our next candidate, Galvin, the Five Guys, Brown. Brown.
All right, so I'm the last of the Five Guys, as you've heard all other the four guys. I'm going to be honest, I didn't prepare anything. Most other guys probably didn't. And honestly, if you want to vote for me, you can. I'm probably not going to do as well as others, but I'm going to try my hardest, and that's all you got to do. Vote for me if you want.
Next candidate, Jack Dudich.
All right. Most people here obviously have said they're going to put 100% of effort, they're going to put hard work, and they're going to be honest and treat everyone fairly. I hope everyone who becomes a judge does that, because if not, that's just awful. And I'm not going to go down that road with the speeches. I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to second point, going to be a story, a small story. I take a philosophy class at school, and my socialist, extremely democratic teacher, who we have strong disagreements about, has actually said he'd admire my boldness. And most of the class, we play a game, and it's mostly logic and judging people, who's lying and who's not lying. And I was very shocked that not only my teachers who know me for who I am, but a teacher who knows me for debates and stuff like that.
Our next candidate, Joseph Toma.
Hey guys, just to tell you a little bit about me, I love God, I love the United States, I love West Virginia, and I love Ronald Reagan. So I have a quote, yeah, there we go. So I have a quote from Ronald Reagan: "If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under." Gentlemen, if you elect me to your Supreme Court, I promise to interpret the law through the eyes of a Christian man, one of integrity, honesty, and loyalty to our great country and our great Constitution, and Ronald Reagan. Thank you very much. God bless. Let's go. Let's take this country back. Joseph Tuma. There's two Josephs. Joseph Tuma.
Our next candidate, Matthew May.
All right, for those of you who know me, I try to be funny, emphasis on try. But I'm going to be serious in this aspect. I plan on taking this very seriously, upholding the law of the state and the country. Just want to say that I believe that we can make Boise State the best that it possibly can be, and the way, May is the way. And if you want to bring justice back, just hold on a second and read my pack.
Our next candidate, Robert Ben Talbot.
Hi guys, I'm Robert Talbot, but some of you may know me by Ben. I'm in Randolph Cabin, and I think you should vote me for Supreme Court because I already know some of the inner workings of both the state and national Supreme Court through camps such as Youth Tour and Youth in Government. And thank you for your attention, and don't doubt it, vote Talbot.
Our next candidate, Bradley Justice Bommarto.
Good evening, everyone. Well, first of all, you pronounce it Bommarito, and my middle initial is J. In this campaign, J stands for justice, because my platform is justice for all, and all means all. I'll tell you a little about myself. I got the highest score on the bar exam. You can check in the newspaper to verify that. And I work with government and many clubs and organizations. I'm a volunteer with a teen court back in my home county. So please vote for Bradley Justice Bommarito for Supreme Court. Justice for all, and all means all.
Our next candidate, Zach Stash Richards.
Good evening, Mountaineer Boys State. My name is Zach the Stash Richards, and I must ask you for your vote tonight. I've been a leader for most of my life throughout Boy Scouting. I'm an Eagle Scout. I have a 4.333 GPA. I'm vice president of our FFA chapter, and I'm up-and-coming president of our National Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you for your vote tonight for the name of leadership, justice, fairness, and respect for all at this camp. We will keep Boys State great in its traditions. Thank you all for your vote, and don't forget, remember the stash.
Our next candidate, William Sellers.
To those of you I've already spoken with during the camp, hello again. To those I haven't seen yet, I'm sorry. I'll try to get to you at some point during the camp. My name is William Sellers, and I am running for Supreme Court Justice. Now, I could stay up here and talk to you about my leadership experiences like Youth Leadership Academy and Senior Patrol Leader and Chaplain's Aide and my Scout Troop and other things. But here, qualifications and bar exams are kind of big, but I feel like we're going to be answering some tough questions in the Supreme Court. And I want to be the qualified person there to try and make these decisions and represent you at Boys State. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Marquise Queasy Galtridge.
Alright, how are you guys? It's actually Marquise Gullidge, and I'm a big guy on respect and learning politics and legal stuff. I took a business law class in my freshman year, and I shadowed for a juvenile family attorney back in my hometown. And that's what I like to do. I just like to have fun, learn, and I'm a big thing on respect. So I'm going to listen to you guys and take what you want to do, and I'd love to represent your Supreme Court. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Andrew Miser.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have any
fancy catchphrases to catch y'all's attention or make me special in any way, but I think that I am very qualified to represent you all in the Supreme Court because the qualifications for being a Supreme Court justice, you have to uphold the beliefs that you are just, and that you are fair, and that you will uphold the law. And I believe that I am qualified for these things. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Thank you. And yeah, vote for me for Supreme Court Justice.
Our next candidate, Joseph Thomas.
What a candidate told you what they're going to do in the court. Well, I'm going to say I'll have a fair trial, not be biased against plaintiff and defendant. I will mean that to vote for me, Joseph Thomas.
Our next candidate, Zach.
Hi, I'm Zach Cavalsi from the Kanawha Cottage. I think I'll be a good Supreme Court justice because I'm one of the only people that has experience. I had a brief career in the 6th grade, so we came to a verdict, and I really have a lot of pride regarding our verdict because of us, the big bad wolf has been behind bars for years. So just remember, Z for Supreme, so Zach's got your back. Not mustache Zach, though.
Our next candidate, Ridge Ripple.
Hey guys, my name's Ridge Dalrymple. I'd just like to say I'm honored to be here at Boise State. And, you know, I came here not knowing what I was going to do, as many of you can relate probably. But we've had many great speakers since then. And I would just like to say that I've been inspired by them to pursue a challenging position as Supreme Court Justice. And I'm asking you guys, why can't you guys be inspired as well? And together we can make Boise State a great place, an amazing place, and as a result, we can make America a great place as well. Thank you. Rich.
Our next candidate, Andy Henthorn.
Hey guys, I'm Andy Henthorn. I'm from Kanawha County. It's like right under Charleston. I want to be Supreme Court Justice because we are all equal. Here, we all made a law. We all set in a law when we started this. We want to defend this law, and best to defend this law is to provide equality. There are 5 of us, and we all need to work together. I've worked with most of the kids who just applied. Brian, Greg, I've worked with most of these people before, and we can provide a solid and founded Supreme Court justice system. Thank you.
Okay. Our last candidate, Judicial Jacob Collin.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Jacob Coughlin, otherwise known as Judicial Jacob. Provided I am elected as one of your Supreme Court justices, I intend to do everything to the best of my ability to uphold the laws of the United States Constitution, the West Virginia Constitution, and the Boise State Constitution. And also I'd like to uphold the values of my party, the Nationalist Party. And also, at the same time, work to unite the parties through the common factor of constitutional law, which is the foundation of everything basically in our nation. So, yeah, remember, a vote for Jacob is a vote for justice.
I'd like to call up to the podium Randall Kosis.
All right, man, we're going to show some ads that were paid for before it started. I have no idea what those are, but they were paid for. All right, I'm going to explain something that's very important, and that's what's going to happen the rest of this evening. Five. That's the first one. Okay. How many times are you going to let them run? 3 times? All right, what I'm going to talk about is very important because it's what we're going to do over the next 6 hours while we carry out this voting process. Last year it ended at 3 o'clock in the morning. No kidding. But we're hoping that doesn't happen this year. We had some technical difficulties. So, on page 13 at the top, there's our tentative schedule for this evening. I'm already going to change it because of what time it is. Change the time for the state polls closing till 11 o'clock. The top line, state polls will close at 11 o'clock. All evening activities will end at 11:40. You're to be in your cabin by 11:50. Lights out is midnight. Now this is all subject to change based upon how the election goes. This is the most chaotic night at the camp. That's our tentative schedule, plan of action. Have your attention, please. Now, this is how we're going to try to get to midnight. If we have to make a change in this, it will be announced camp-wide over the radios. We've got a voting procedure. In a few minutes, Mr. Robinson, the officer of the day, is going to call out poll workers. When you are called out, you're to go outside, gather in a group, go to the basement of the dining hall. It's called the Greenbrier Room. The poll workers, these are all the county poll workers, will vote first their state ballot. The Greenbrier Room is where the state polls are located. The poll workers will vote the state ballot first. Can I have your guys' attention in the back here? Thanks, the 3 of you. Yeah, you guys. And when we dismiss, you guys stay in those seats, okay? Thanks. Now, Mr. Robinson, after he votes the poll workers, or releases the poll workers, we are going to dismiss by county. When your county's called, you gather out front, you march as a group to your county. We're going from the furthest away counties, and then we're working our way in closer. The furthest away counties. What I want you to do is to go to your counties and start the county and city voting process first. I want the counselors, once you get done with your county and city, you're freed up to come to the state polls in the Greenbrier room. The Greenbrier room. And then you vote to state there. If we need to make any changes to the time, we'll make a statewide announcement when you hear taps tonight. That will be the official lights out. So at this time, I give you the yes, sir. The changes to the schedule, it's tentative. The state polls will close at 11 o'clock. Anyone who is in line at the time that the state polls are scheduled to close will be allowed to vote. If you are not in line when the state polls are scheduled to close, and that may get later, it won't get any earlier, but it could get later. If you're in line at the time that the polls are scheduled to close, you will be allowed to vote the state polls. The evening activities are tentatively scheduled to change or to end at 11:40, in cabin at 11:50, and lights out at midnight. You'll see what happens here. Maybe we can stay on this schedule. All right, at this time, I want those three guys that I pointed out, stand up, come up here so I don't lose you.